I feel like we are, as creators, we have an audience, of course, and we have supporters. And it's really awesome that we, as creators, can do what we want to do because people are so appreciative of the art. And I think, like, without supporters and an audience, like, we would, as creators, we would not be where we are. But along with that, there's also haters, of course. And I think as a creator, we have to be aware of that and know how to accept that into our life. So, in today's podcast, I'm going to be talking about the art of not giving a fuck, or in other words, how to remain unbothered. And coming from someone who is overly sensitive, this was the hardest thing for me to overcome as a human being. But the fact that I'm here today doing a podcast about how I got to the place that I am is all I can ask for. And it's really just amazing, all the progress that I've been making. So, enough about myself. I'm going to go straight into this, and I'm just going to highlight three major points to remaining unbothered. All right, guys. So, social media is literally designed for us to give a fuck about what people are doing, what people are eating, what people are wearing, what people are laughing about, and even what they're not doing, what they're not wearing, what they're not eating. So, do we already see the problem with that? We are caring about what people are doing in every aspect of their life. If you answered no, don't worry, because join the rest of us who never knew the true issue of social media. And it's honestly crazy and it blows my mind, but here we are, guys. It's 2020. Social media is just, it's the new thing. So I know it's impossible to say, oh, delete all social media. So I'm just going to go in to what helped me not give a fuck, basically. Social media became a thing when I was in high school. I believe it was probably my freshman year when people were like using Instagram. I know MySpace has been a thing since I was much younger, but I think Instagram became more popular when I was in high school. And, I was a frequent user as any other high school girl. I would post regularly. I was constantly scrolling in my spare time during class. The usual. And I feel like I never knew the true issue of social media until I got to college, and I'm a media major. I study broadcasting electronic communication arts. So, all of our studies and a lot that we read about and do is about media, social media, any type of really media in general. So, a lot of the papers I've written, and I'm not saying in any way, shape, or form that I'm some media expert, because I'm not. I'm just a 21-year-old girl in college. But I really do feel strongly about this. So, anyways, going back to what I was saying, I did my first social media detox in college. I'm sad that it had to be all the way until I was like, you know, in college to do this. But I just never thought about it before. I always thought I'm using social media the same way other people are using it. I'm not too obsessed. I'm not posting every second. But we need to look back and just really think about what we're using it for, how we're using it, and why we're using it. Why do I feel like social media detoxing is key? Well, first off, guys, when you social media detox, you learn to generate your own thoughts. And wow, you're probably thinking, I have my own thoughts. But social media is designed to make you think a certain way. And regardless whether you are aware of that or not, that's what it's doing. And I would suggest watch The Social Dilemma if you haven't. That will go into depth about what I am trying to say. It makes you care about things that would you really have cared about them, if you weren't consumed with that specific thing daily? I don't know. That's something to ask yourself. And I feel like I have a lot of other articles and YouTube videos along with that documentary, The Social Dilemma. If you guys are interested, I can totally like make those available to you. But, It's designed to make you think a certain way. You wouldn't know this, at least personally for me, I wouldn't recognize that it's doing this until I went off the wall and went on a social media detox. You start to think for yourself without the input or persuasion of others. So, social media detoxing is a little bit difficult, especially if you are a frequent user. I mean, I don't have Twitter, I don't have TikTok, I don't have Facebook. So it's really just like Instagram and Snapchat for me. But even that was a little bit difficult. So I would say ease into it. I started off by just deleting social media before I was going to go into bed. So around dinner time, I would delete it just so I'm not consumed with, you know, anything on the media before I go to bed. I just kind of wanted to unwind. And after doing that for some time, I found out that I'm the most peaceful before I go to bed. And why was that? I mean, it could be linked to a lot of things. Like I started a new skincare routine and it really got me relaxed, or, there's probably a lot of aspects. But I think a huge aspect was that I was enjoying the fact that I wasn't being bombarded with all this media before I went to sleep, which wasn't healthy for me. And I started to really like that. So I started deleting my social media through the week and only accessing it on the weekends, which made me a lot more productive during the week. I was able to do more. But as I'm starting my YouTube channel, I realized that I needed to be active on Instagram to respond to people, to stay in touch with people. So I started just giving myself the leverage to access social media in the mornings, get done with what I have to do, and then end it for the day and enjoy my day. But I was able to do this and, create like this sort of, what is the word? I'm trying to think of the word, like the control to do this. Because now I feel like I've recognized what it feels like to not have it and to generate my own thoughts and to live for myself and not to live for what I'm showing people. And if it wasn't without that, I wouldn't have this control over how I use it now. Slowly you realize that you can do things without posting them, and it doesn't make those things any less great than they really are. It actually makes you appreciate it more. Okay, do you think when we're 50 years old we're going to be caring about that selfie we spent so long getting ready for, so long editing, so long screaming at our friend for not getting the right angles? No, we won't. That None of that is going to matter. So I always like to think of that when I'm doing things, maybe social media related. Like, is this worth my time? Who am I trying to prove something to? And it really makes you look back on the situation. And guys, there's a lot of studies showing that future generations have more causes of depression and social anxiety for these exact reasons. And I'm not a psychologist or therapist in no way. Also, I'm not trying to belittle disorders that people have. It's very unfortunate that they have to live with something that literally takes a toll on their own life. And in no way do I wish it upon my worst enemy. Recognize why you're doing the things you're doing and use it in moderation. However, you can't really do that unless you really delete it for quite some time. Guys, it's like an ex, okay? Let me just put this scenario in your head. It's like you're with someone for a very long time, and I'm relating to us and social media. Okay, so you're with someone for a very long time. You spend every second with them, every minute, every hour. You're lovers, okay? You're lovers for the most part. You are totally consumed with each other, and you guys break up. And as the breakup, I'm referring to the social media detox. You're deleting your apps, you're going AWOL. Let's get it, baby. Let's do this, okay? You're not with your significant other anymore, but you think you can go and be friends the next day. No, hell no. Like, at least the two of you are going to need some time for yourselves in order to come back and have that control to be friends. And that is what I'm saying about this social media detoxing. You need to separate yourself from the issue for quite some time to really reflect until you can go back and use it in moderation. In other words, be friends. If that makes any sense, that's probably the best way I can explain it. Okay, so all in all, if your goal is to become more unbothered, not really give a fuck, then certainly putting on a show for whatever, like your subscribers or your followers, isn't the best way to go about that. Hey guys, it's editing Kate here. I just wanted to pop in and say by putting on a show, I mean not being your most authentic self, because you can throw out as much content as you want, but if you're not really you or you're putting it out for the wrong reasons that aren't genuinely coming from yourself, I think a lot of viewers or followers or subscribers, like they can sense what's real and what's not. And I think that like my biggest set of advice is to be yourself on social media, because you can create this persona that you want people to see you as, but ultimately that's not the real you. And people are going to love you in life and people are going to hate you. Just being you at the end of the day is good enough. And if people don't like you for that, then that's a problem that they have, because as long as you're true to yourself, that's all that really matters, So I think by putting on a show, I just wanted to clarify that is like not being truly who you are. Yeah, I just wanted to throw that in there. So my boyfriend has a Twitter. He's always had a Twitter. I think I deleted my Twitter in 2016. So that was like how many years ago? That was like maybe 5 years ago. So I haven't really been on the outlet recently. My boyfriend constantly shows me like funny tweets or funny videos, and I don't know. It's really like a diary. Like, why do these people feel the need to tweet the things that they do? What is it for? Who is it for? And what are they trying to prove? I get it. A lot of people would say, okay, like there's funny videos, whatever. But it's just another app to consume your attention and time. I don't know. Am I sounding too strict? I feel like this has now turned into a social media rant. Okay, anyways, this next key point relates to this whole like Twitter diary situation that I was talking about. Another key point to remaining unbothered, or just simply not giving a fuck about what people think, is talking less. All right. So, as someone who is overly sensitive, I naturally care too much and really take it to heart what people say. But you have nothing to prove. Repeat with me. You have nothing to prove. You have nothing to prove to anyone but yourself. And this was something I had to engrave in my brain, because as someone who cares a little bit too much, you need to constantly be telling yourself, you have nothing to prove. You don't need a fight to be heard, because all in all, at the end of the day, in order to remain unbothered is to soak in the situation and don't provide a response. Don't provide an action. I am one of 5 kids and I am the most sensitive out of all of my siblings. I am the second oldest, but I am the most sensitive. And I feel like because of that fact, they often would, I wouldn't say bully. My siblings are very nice, but yeah, they would gang up on me because, and this is a valid reason, not a valid reason, but you know what I mean. They did this because they liked the reaction I would give them. I would blow up, or I would cry, or I would provide them a response. And naturally, people want a response. So, you know what? Over the years, I have learned to just keep my comments to myself, because, guys, like I said, you have nothing to prove. So, now don't take this as me telling you to be like an introvert, because naturally I'm a pretty outspoken person and it's a great quality to have. There's perks about, being an introvert, and there's perks about being an extroverted, just like anything else. But the key is to listen. You don't need to provide a response, but just listen to what people have to say. And I watch a lot of those YouTube videos, the advice from a 100-year-old person. There's like a few YouTube videos, like advice from, someone who has lived most of their life and have encountered experience after experience. And a lot of them say that the key is to just listen. And I really, really, I think for someone who's lived that long and they're telling you this advice, I really like to watch these videos and take notes, because they have lived and this is what they're telling us. So I feel like I take it into consideration. When you're unbothered, you don't let anything phase you. And even if it does phase you on the inside, because guys, I'm telling you, you're going to come across just some things that really put you out of place or tick you off or push your buttons, but don't let yourself give too much of a response. I mean, go home and journal about it, you know? But the key to be remaining unbothered is to not letting it phase you. And what I do now is I ask myself when situations, get me a little bit worked up, I just say, will this matter in a year? And more than half of the time, not even that, 90% of the time, it will not matter. Then after that, I say, fuck it. Then fuck what is going on. Fuck the situation. If it's not going to matter in a year, then why should I spend my time worrying about it now? Worrying about something is like sitting in a rocking chair. You're not getting anywhere and it's not going to do anything for you. But yes, it will consume your time. So that's just something I like to think about when I notice myself getting worked up about something is literally just keep to yourself, talk less, just listen, and then go home and rage to your boyfriend about it later in the night. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, have your main people there that you can rant to. I'm not saying ranting is bad, but you guys know what I mean. All right, third and most important to remaining unbothered, I think that's worked for me is confidence. And now I know that confidence itself is just a very broad term. And I think this deserves a whole podcast in itself because this is a journey, people, let me tell you. And I'm still on this journey today. I'm not saying I'm perfect and I'm so confident because, we live in this society where you're kind of looked down upon for being too confident or, titled as cocky or, you're labeled as prying or egotistical. The actual definition of confidence, I mean, according to the Oxford languages, it is the feeling or belief that one can rely on someone or something or firm trust. And I know this is easier said than done, but guys, apply that definition to ourselves. And I'm not some preacher. Let me just say this. We know ourselves better than anyone else on this earth. And that's a fact. That's a fact. So to doubt ourselves is just absolutely absurd. For strangers to doubt us, then okay, they don't know us, they don't know our journey, they don't know what we're going through. But to doubt yourself is just crazy to me. And trust me, guys, I'm still working on it myself. I catch myself in times of doubt. And that's okay because life's a journey. But the idea that we need self assurance from others completely baffles me. And this is back to my whole social media talk, the fact that we get satisfaction from the likes of Instagram or whatever. That's just an example. And I think social media has just made it more like easier for us to do it in that way. But you guys have to really get to know the inner you to be confident. And like I said, I can go on and on about this, but you just really need to get to know the inner self and be comfortable with yourself. And when you're confident in yourself, you will not need the approval of others. You will not care for the opinions of others. And I mean, there's many ways to discover the inner you. I don't know, move far away from home, journal, go through a heartbreak, lose something. My point about that is in order to not give a fuck, you have to be confident in yourself to know that what you're doing, what you're saying, what you're wearing, or anything like that is no one's business but your own. And don't let the opinions of others break the bond between you and your inner self. And by this inner self, I'm not saying like I'm not some spiritual leader guiding you in some meditation, but it does sound like it, but what I mean is just literally, I mean the you, the inner you, the person that you wake up and go to sleep as, not the mask you wear around others or your Instagram persona. If you've taken on anything from me rambling about this, it would be to just fucking love yourself, okay? And blah, blah, blah. I know that's easier said than done. I know, trust me, guys, I am still on that pathway, but people already have their preconceived idea of who they think you are. So fuck it. Don't live for them, live for you. And I'm done. I re-recorded this. Take me, for example. I re-recorded this video like 17 times. And it took me to be like, why don't I just take what I'm saying in this video and say fuck it and just go all out? I kept thinking that what I was saying was bad and then I would re-record and then re-record and then re-record, but I'm like, fuck it, I'm just gonna do it. This is me authentically. If people are gonna talk, they're gonna talk, and I feel like that is just life and there's nothing we can really do about it. So that was a long rant, but definitely the first of many. So if you guys like this, please stay tuned, please keep listening. I'm really excited to be doing doing this. All right, cool. Thanks, guys. I hope you have a good rest of your morning or afternoon or night or whatever the fuck time it is. And just enjoy yourself. Love yourself. Peace out, guys.